Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban, I don't know, Proletarian? Rifleman? I'm not sure which channel to put a motorcycle video on. Oh, there goes a bike. I thought about making a brand new channel, maybe the Suburban Adventure Rider or the Suburban Motorcyclist or something, but as difficult as it is to get a channel monetized now, I don't really want to build up a new subscriber base when I already have a subscriber base. So I guess this will probably go on the Suburban Proletarian. This video is really just a test of my equipment, my audio-visual equipment for, how does one make a motorcycling video? So, no fancy intro. I'm not going to go into the bike in great detail at the moment. I've had it just about a week. I bought it Friday of last week. As you can see, there's 246 miles on the clock, so I'm still very much within my break-in period. And so I'm not really flogging this thing very hard, but I can give you my initial impressions of the bike. As most of you probably already know, the KLR 650 started production in 1987 and went through two previous generations and was discontinued by Kawasaki in 2018, I believe. So 2019, 2020, and 2021 model years are missing from the timeline, but there was such a hue and cry from the KLR community that Kawasaki decided to bring it back. They've got another sort of adventure tour in their Versus, but people really love the KLR. They really wanted it back, and here it is. And this is a 2022 model. There's a couple of options. There's three different trim levels. There's the base bike, and as far as colors go, the base bike has the most choices. It's got this orange, and then it has a tan, khaki, desert sand type color, which I also liked. But I really wanted the Traveler model. That's what this is. The Traveler only comes in this orange, which is fine. Again, I like this color. And but it comes with a couple of extra options. You've got a USB port there, and you've got a 12-volt power socket down there. So in addition to the various electrical doodads and some updated styling, the two biggest changes to this third generation KLR are the addition of electronic fuel injection, finally, and anti-lock brakes. Now the ABS is not standard, that is optional. You can get ABS and non-ABS models. The only bikes my dealership had were ABS models, which is fortunate because that's really what I wanted, was ABS. And thankfully I haven't had a chance to try out the ABS yet, but I've heard good things about it. I know it's a bit controversial. Some off-road capable bikes with ABS, the anti-lock brakes can be a little bit intrusive on your off-road experience. But up to this point, most of my off-road has involved exploring logging roads and other unpaved surfaces. I haven't done any, serious single track off-roading or anything like that. So I'm not anticipating any problems with the ABS. And if anybody's wondering why I'm going relatively slow on the highway here, I am still in the break-in period, so I'm kind of varying my RPMs and just kind of taking it easy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get off of this 4-lane in a minute and get back on a side highway. From the little bit that I've run the bike on the highway, however, it does seem... How did I get back behind this slow guy? It does seem to ride very nicely on the highway, and it's a great temptation to twist the throttle and see what it's like at 85 miles an hour, but that'll come soon enough. Right now I'm just taking it easy. So my first impressions of the bike, very comfortable seat. At first glance it looks pretty much like a dirt bike seat, but unlike my TW200, which pretty much felt like you were sitting on a 2x6, this seat is very cushy, very nice. I've heard nothing but good reviews of this saddle. There are people who have put in long hours on this bike already, even though it's not been around for more than about 6 months. A couple of people have done long trips on this bike, and they say the saddle's very comfortable. The seating position, as it came from the factory, is pretty good for me. I'm going to be putting some slightly higher handlebars on the bike, just to get my grips up a little bit higher. I haven't done a lot of riding standing on this bike yet, but the bars do seem like they're just a tad low. All the controls are pretty easy to reach and manipulate. One thing that Kawasaki added to this new generation is this bar right here, which is specifically designed for mounting cameras and phones and such. I did put a phone mount on here. Oh my goodness, are we going to be on our brakes the whole way? We're going to come to a complete stop to turn in for the early bird special. Thank goodness. I like the fact that this bar and this phone mount allow me to mount the phone quite high. As you can see, when the phone is mounted, it's just below the top of the windshield. This way, when you're using the phone for navigation, I don't have to look down too far. I can keep my eyes on the road and just glance down quickly at the GPS and then glance back up without having to move my head. I had a phone mount on my TW200, and I would use that for navigating a bit, but it was way down here on the handlebars, and I would have to look down and look back up and look down and look back up. This is much, much nicer. I don't have to move my head at all to glance back and forth between the road and the GPS. So that's nice. I'm really glad that Kawasaki added this bar. I know that a lot of professional motorcycling journalists have kind of crapped all over the new KLR 650. They bemoan the fact that it still has that same single-cylinder engine. They talk about the vibrations, the buzzing being unbearable. I can tell you that none of them put in the last 8,000 miles on a TW200. If you think that this thing is vibrational and unrefined, you ain't seen anything yet. I mean, this thing is so smooth. Now, I have a very limited frame of reference. I've had a couple of super smooth bikes, don't get me wrong. I still have my old CB900C, which is about as smooth as it gets. Maybe a CBX with 6 cylinders might be a bit smoother, but my CB900 is very smooth. This thing is not rough and rattly by any means. But again, I'm not riding a dozen different brand new bikes every year, so my frame of reference is a bit more limited, but I just couldn't be more pleased with this bike so far. It's totally refined. It's perfectly good enough for me to do some light adventure touring. As a matter of fact, the KLR 650 is still one of the most popular bikes for adventure touring, real adventure touring, you know. Cairo to Cape Town, or doing the Pan American Highway, or I don't know what, but the KLR 650 can get it done. It's damn near indestructible. And yes, I'm aware of the thermobob. I'm aware of the cooling system weirdness. I'm aware of the doohickey. I'm still trying to make up my mind on what I want to do about either of those issues. A lot of reviewers that talk about this bike talk about the balance chain tensioner, or the so-called doohickey. They'll talk about the thermobob, but then they go on in the next sentence to say that the bike is damn near indestructible. So, you know, I don't know. Does it have Achilles heels, or is it just so tough that people focus on the couple of things that can go wrong? I've done a lot of that research, and I've seen that, lugged it a little bit there. I've done my research. I've looked at the data that's presented by the people that make the thermobob, and I have no doubt that it does what it says it does. I think it makes the engine run a bit warmer and much more consistently. And they've presented a lot of data. I haven't really seen any empirical data presented that says if you go ahead and put the thermobob in early, your bike isn't going to burn oil when it gets higher mileage. I mean, there's a lot of old timers that say, oh, you don't need to do any of that stuff. You can just kind of ride it and forget about it, and when it gets old and starts burning oil, carry a couple of quarts of oil with you, which is, you know, maybe not the worst theory in the world, but I have a feeling I'll probably end up doing the thermobob and the doohickey eventually. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy with the bike as it is, and I think this is a good enough test of my camera and microphone. So we'll go into this a bit deeper. Again, I don't know if I'm going to post this on the the Suburban Proletarian probably. Maybe I should put it on the Suburban Proletarian and the Suburban Rifleman and see if there's particularly more interest on one channel or the other. But anyway, I'll definitely be doing more bike videos, and I will be trying out some other things, I'm sure, as regards my audio video setup. But so hopefully this wasn't too terribly painful for you to watch, and I look forward to seeing everyone here on the next one. Catch you on the flip side. Later, guys.